In an era where every major publisher is trying their hardest to put out some sort of games as a service or a pay-to-win kind of game, it's always a great feeling when you do find a great game or series that doesn't rely on all that kind of crap and strictly focuses on making a great game. In the horror genre scene right now, I'm seeing a lot of team-based survival horrors with like the main bad guy being an 80s horror icon. I'm also seeing a lot of remakes of great horror games. I'm also seeing a lot of rip-offs of great horror games, but what I'm not seeing is a whole lot of risks being taken. Just going for it, doing something weird with the goal of creeping you out. I think that is the heart and soul of true horror. Taking a risk, doing something weird, trying to creep you out. Instead, they go for cheap jump scares. Which can be cool, but if that's your whole game, well, then you're just the Conjuring series of video games. Just jump scaring for the sake of jump scaring. And that's fine, but that is it. It's just fine. I prefer weird shit that's gonna creep me out. Do something no one expects you to do. And have people say, oh, you remember that part? Show me something that's gonna stick with me when I'm done. And that is exactly what the Little Nightmares series has done. It shows you things that definitely stick with you after you're done. And there are way more than just one of them throughout the whole series. So if you're ready to get creeped out, let's take a look at the Little Nightmares series. Little Nightmares was released in 2017 and is a 2D puzzle platforming horror adventure game by Tarsier Studios and published by Bandai Namco Entertainment. In it, you play as Six, a 9-year-old girl who awakens after dreaming about the lady. Armed with only a lighter and your big brain, you move forward solving puzzles and escaping from enemies like the janitor, the twin chefs, and the guests, to ultimately get to this weird and confusing and actually really awesome ending. There isn't a single word of dialogue spoken in this game. You must try and piece the story together with stuff you see in the background and, well, the really weird shit that happens in the game. You will see a ton of hangings, children being captured, and what looks like maybe even being prepared as food. And this is what you can kind of piece together from the environment. These games are incredibly atmospheric. Having the lighter sometimes as your only light source is great for tension building, and the bizarre contrast between this cute little 9-year-old girl and really repulsing, eerie, and ultimately sad things around her create this really weird conflict in my brain. Like, oh, she's all cute, and then what the hell is that? But also, Six might not be as cute as she seems. But don't worry about it, I won't get into spoilies here. The look and feel of Little Nightmares is pretty original, even obviously kind of being inspired by games like Limbo and Inside before it. It definitely has its own style. The design of the enemies is really fantastic, and each being creepy and original in their own right, like the janitor with his long creepy arms, and the twins with their heavy breathing, kind of like me after going up a giant flight of stairs. They also kind of look like what I think the hamburger will look like under the mask. I'm loving it. But like I said, Six is a 9-year-old girl, and you can truly feel that controls wise. She's kind of slow, and the way she moves is very childlike, the way she swings her arms. And everything is just out of reach for her, forcing you to figure out a way to proceed. It's usually by dragging something to climb up on to open a door, or drag something to climb onto something, to jump over something, to get to something, to push down the key to open the door. But the puzzles do feel creative, and they're actually pretty tough to crack. It took me a while into some parts to finally figure out what the hell I was supposed to do. There are also a few miscalculated steps due to the depth perception, leading to a horrific fall or two. But here there are no weapons. Like I said, you just have your lighter, you can sprint and grab stuff, and that's about it. A staple in the series are its chases. You will be chased a lot, and these moments do a great job of producing heavy breathing anxiety. As far as collectibles go, there are these lady statues that you can break, and sometimes you can follow your little gnome friends to secret areas. The deal with these creepy little gnomes gets explained in the DLC Secrets of the Maw, which, well, like the whole series, ends up being pretty f***ed up. The Maw is the location where the game's taking place, and it is described as a kind of underwater resort that caters to the extremely wealthy and powerful elite. But because nothing is really confirmed or denied from the conclusions of the game, this leaves the door wide open to great fan theories and speculations. And I think Doing this kind of stuff is the best way of creating a very strong gaming community where ideas and theories can be exchanged. I mean, just look at how many different theories there are on YouTube. If you have one, please feel free to drop down in the comments if you played this game before. I'm super curious to see what you guys think. It's so crazy how deep the story can go without speaking any dialogue. Even with the first game only being around 4 hours long and the DLC another 3, they do manage to cram in so much atmosphere and interesting lore that I was excited to figure out what the sequel had in store for me to move this very cryptic and fun story along. Unfortunately, as I started to play Little Nightmares 2, I soon figured out that this is actually a prequel. Again, no spoilers, so don't worry about it. The prequel was released in 2021 and you play as Mono, a boy who wakes up in the middle of the woods next to a TV. I mean, who hasn't been waken up at 3 AM by a TV? As you make your way through the woods and pass more and more crazy, nasty shit, you eventually run into Six, the protagonist from the previous game. So now you and Six must make your way through the horrors of the Pale City and discover its very dark secrets. The immediate difference between 1 and 2 is that there's way more depth. You'll be going up or down on a lot of dark corridors, making the world feel bigger than the first one did. Because on the first one we're stuck on the mall, and in the second one we're traveling this very creepy, messed up city. The second game is longer, clocking in around 5 to 6 hours. There are way more enemies here, each, again, creepy in their own right, but they all feel like they belong in this same nasty universe. This go around there are also hats you can collect and put on Mono, even though I think that the default New Orleans Saints fan might be the best one. Another difference is that you actually have a partner this time around in Six, and she's not useless and also never really in the way. You can hold her hand or call her over. I like that she catches on what you're trying to do and then she helps you do it. It feels very natural, like, oh, you're trying to move that box? Let me give you a hand. Instead of using Six as a way to guide you through solving the puzzle. She does it sometimes, but not always, and I do appreciate when she doesn't. Like, I know I'm done, but give me a minute. The gameplay is pretty much the same except for now there are weapons. Mono can pick up random axes or pipes and club enemies over the head with it, but they don't really work as well as I would want them to. Hitting stationary targets is fine, like cracked wood or a crack in a door, but when you have to hit something that's actually moving, it's really tough. There's a school level with these creepy ass little hooligan kids, and trying to kill these kids is very tough. Hold on, I know that sounded wrong, but look at these freaks. You'd want to kill them too, man. I mean, look at them. Them kids, bro. Anyway, because of the distance, I would either stop too short and miss them completely or start my swing a little bit too late and they would maul me and kill me. And in these segments, you have to shatter multiple of these creepy little in one go. If not, you have to start the little section again. I definitely struggled in this part of the game. I think this might have been the toughest part for me personally, I think, in the whole series. And then when I finally did do it, I got killed by some Home Alone bullshit. To be fair, this trap did get me a bunch of times. The puzzle quality is pretty much the same the second go around, but it could have been maybe the depth and the amount of just stuff lying around that you can interact with that makes you think that they're actually important, but they're not. It's just extra stuff. You'll find shoes or leaves or books or just random stuff lying around, making you think it could be important, but it's not. There's still only one way to solve each puzzle or defeat the enemy, but the game feels a bit more freeing than the first. It allows you to mess around and do stuff like this.
Kobe! Encara Messi, 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 gol, 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 gol.
What isn't so different is the formula of puzzle, puzzle, chase.
Hi, how are you?
And like what I said about the first, the chase scenes create major anxiety, and they do that here as well. My only issue is that the anxiety kind of fades because of how many times you have to retry the chase, because of how hard some chases can actually be. If you're not absolutely perfect in some of them, you have to try the whole thing again. And I mean perfect. It feels like if you take one wrong step, you're done. Character movement is great, whether it's bursting through doors or chasing you. Every movement is meant to entice some sort of anxiety or fear. I also appreciate these beautiful breaks with beautiful shots like these. Story-wise, I do feel like the second game is way more straightforward. It's more simple to figure out what the hell happened, well, because they blatantly kind of show you, but because it's a prequel, there are still a lot of questions left unanswered as far as 6 goes. There have been rumors about a third Little Nightmares going on for a while now, and even like some sort of fake has resurfaced. Bandai Namco has said that there will be more Little Nightmares in the future, so that's great, but I don't think as great as a departure of Tarsier Studios, who developed these 2 games. Instead, Supermassive Games, the creators of games like Until Dawn and the Dark Picture Anthology series, will be taking over. I don't doubt the capability of Supermassive Games of delivering something awesome. It's just that changes in the creative of a product that is so unique kind of worries me, because I really want more. It's a very unique experience that creeps you out, disgusts you, fills you with anxiety, and most importantly, entertains you. And with this cryptic form of storytelling, they can just keep going. They can tell a story of another kid, they can continue 6's story, they can even expand on Mono maybe, just anything. Nowadays, studios don't know when to end stories, but in the case of these freaky ass little games, I just don't want the story to end. But speaking of games that need a sequel, I'll leave my other video on Sunset Overdrive for you right here. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and remember to always and forever, you do you.